Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Omeno Michelle, and we are here to do a wrap up of the month of August, or rather wrap up for the books I have read. Wrap up can mean so many things, and I feel some part of me that because there's some books that I left halfway, if we compile I would have read 6 books. You do know almost doesn't count. Okay, sometimes it does count, but not this time. Almost doesn't count. Seriously? I'm missing the point. Yeah, the important fact is that I read books and I enjoyed them for the most of the parts. Yes, the most important thing is that at least you read something this month. So, continue on. So, yeah. And by this month, you mean the month of August. The first book that I finished in the month of August is one of those books that you see, the 100 books to read before you die. So I was curious, and the fact that it's a middle grade, like, this will be fun. And the book is, I recall it, Time by Madeleine L'Engle. I'm brushing up on French. And I believe it's fantasy. And it started off so well. I felt a bit cozy. Lo and behold, this is not those kind of books, those cozy fantasy. We follow Charles Wallace and his sister, along with a friend that they encountered during this mysterious journey, and 3 individuals. They are more of like supernaturals, and they're out to save the world because there's some dark thing that is not only wanting to engulf the earth, but the whole galaxy. These 3 supernatural beings did fight with this darkness sometime back, but it overpowered them and it's back. So it's up to these children, with a bit of help from these supernaturals, to kind of help traverse another sphere of the universe. In the process, save the father of Charles and her sister. And I can see what Madeleine L'Engle is trying to say about this book. She touches on, society and wanting us to be the same, this conformity, at least society will be better if we're all, wouldn't that be boring if we're all the freaking same? It will be so banal. So what will be the point of life? If you looking like me and acting like me. And so I get that deep commentary on conformity, society, and also about what might be affecting us as a whole, not only Kenya, because have you seen the oil prices? Jesus. And the economy as a whole, the universe. And also I feel like she also touches on mental health, if you think about it. It's just that the execution of this other world, as she introduced this other world, I felt like it missed a mark somewhere. I was like, can we get along? But for most of the parts, I enjoyed this book. Would I recommend it? Yes, it's a deep book. Will I continue the series? I am not yet sure. I feel like the way it ended, it wasn't so much a cliffhanger that I must continue it, but curiosity. The next book that I read, I felt like half of the book I was quite irritated by our main characters. I was like, Lord, take control of your life. I was like, you decide what you want. I was like, can you stand up to yourself, And this book is Wishful Thinking by Melissa Hill. It follows 3 women who are all going through their life challenges. One is an elderly mother, Rosie Mitchell, who was just lost, not recently, but lost the husband. So she's trying to adjust to life without him. And she has these 2 children who she feels like she raised so well for them to stand up well and be kind to others. Lo and behold, these kids mistreat their mom. Like, I was like, I want a kid. And then we follow Dara Campbell. Dara Campbell met this man earlier on in her life. She felt like he was the love of her life. They had this passion, this connection that she felt that she will never have in her life, until the moment she asked this man to take the relationship to a higher level, that is marriage. And the man acted like a kid, left her, and then later on finds a man, gets married. Things are going well. Might not be as passionate as her previous lover, but it's safe. They're happy. Things are going well until this freaking man comes back. I was like, and starts claiming her. We can still meet in a cafe and talk, and nothing will be wrong. And then eventually, I was like, leave this husband. I was like, chick, you have a nice man. Not even nice. Nice, no, we don't do nice man. You have a kind, loving man. Why would you risk that for somebody who was so selfish enough to leave you and go wherever he went? And actually, he got married. He got married after he broke up with her for asking him to marry her. And then you come back tell me to drop this man and go with you because we had so much passion. But I love that she had this friend who was like, I get you. I get you. Sometimes not sometimes, because her friend was also a romantic, but at least she was a realist. Yeah, I get you. You want this passion and all, but this man left you. I was like, yeah, listen to her. And then we have the third character who is Louise Patterson. Louise Patterson has had quite a life. She was run over, this drunk driving, and her life wasn't the same again. At the time she was run over, she was in uni, yeah? She had a bit of body challenges, but this accident, as much as it was bad, it also made her lose weight, so she's looking better, life is good. She has found a new job. The course she was doing at the time, she had to leave it behind, so it's not the job that she saw, but she settled for something that she was content and, doing good at, until she started arguing with these friends who were a bit, this social, they don't give a shit, they don't care about you, they just, let's go, boom, boom, boom. And every time she was just being bulldozed, and then they go out to a club, high-end places. She's the one who's made to pay for this drink. Mind you, it's expensive. Mind you, she has her own debt because of the injury she had. And then she goes on and incurs more debt. I was like, can you stand up to yourself? So most of the part of this book, I was really, really annoyed with these characters. And there was some event that happened that connected all three. And eventually, they fucking stood up for themselves. They said, no, you're treating me like shit. No more of that. No, I don't want you. I will stay with my husband. No, I have to, say no to this debt. And, I love the ending of this book. I like realistic things. Not bad. But it also give me a good ending so I can smile. I love the fact that these characters finally stood up for themselves. And they became stronger. They grew. They went for their dreams. Oh, it was so fun. In the end, it was so fun. And there was that scene of a dog. My God. So the son of the first woman, Rosie, came back to live with her. He had divorced the wife. And the son was really mistreating this woman. Oh, my dog is Nini. It's like he knows. And so the woman got a dog, So this day she had gone shopping and left the dog because the dog and the dude were like fighting. So he left the dog in the bedroom. I don't know how the dog got out of the bedroom. The son released the dog. It got hit by a car. And then she found it when it was about to die. Oi. Say tear wax. Tear wax. Things that have cruelty to animals and dogs almost broke me, and this book broke me. So we're gonna go to the next book that almost broke me in August. Oh my God! How do people read these sad books? And now I'm wondering, you people who read A Little Life, are you normal? My pain threshold for sad books is just down, down here. This down here you can't see. So when I read this book, Sarah's Key, I was like, it reached a point I had to read 20 books a day. I'm almost done. We are going 20 books a day because it was just too heavy. I'm not a fan of history, but this book made me want to go and Google more about World War II and Germany and the Holocaust. So to me, it was still wholesome because I learned so much about this time, what led to, this roundup of Jews. And this story follows two women, one in the present, one in the past. The first one is Sarah, 10 years old, a Jew, born and raised in France. The story happens in France. They also took part in that. They're at home, all of a sudden, doom, 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 doom. You need to come with us. And there were the mom and her and the son. I won't say much from there because for those people who want to read this book, that will be spoilers. But that changed the life of Sarah and, Julia Jamont, the present lady. So Sarah tells us what really happened when the Jews were rounded up. First, there was a place, I think it's called the Hive, if I'm not wrong. I stand to be corrected. And the goriness that was happening there. Mind you, this is coming from a 10-year-old. To her, things are so massive, so, the way the kids are so connected to the environment. So the words, the description was just so heartbreaking, as much as the writing style was beautiful. And then from there, we come back to the present. Julia is married to a Frenchman. The family has a bit of history during this roundup of the Holocaust. So through some circumstances, she realizes there's something about the family and connection to Sarah. And then she goes out trying to find out who's this Sarah, where did she go? And then in the meanwhile, Sarah takes us through the journey of going to, finally they went to a certain camp, concentration camp, children and women, and they were separated. Finally, women went to Auschwitz, what happened in Auschwitz, and the children were left alone. They were young, they were crying, there was no food, there was no water. It was just, this was quite an experience. It was quite an experience, and I enjoyed seeing things from a child. I appreciated seeing things from a child. This did me so much more than Book Thief. It is just that relatability and connection as a human. I feel like the Book Thief, because we've been told from the point of view of death, I feel like there was a bit of separation. I would still love to read a book about the Holocaust from a German, especially an innocent one. Young, old, doesn't matter, but I loved this book and the writing style is beautiful. I think I will read more from her. I have another book from her. And the last book I read for the month of August was The Cuckoo's Calling. This book has been calling me. And I kept on ignoring it, but finally I picked it up. It was 500 pages of sheer pleasure. And I was like, after I finished the book, I was like, I need to read this series. And I checked a bit on Goodreads. Not more of the reviews, but the ratings, and the rest of the books in the series have quite a number of ratings. And I prefer this one to Casual Vacancy. What the heck was Casual Vacancy? So this book opens up with Cormoran Strike. He's just broken up with this toxic mama that they have been together. He's broke. She came from a rich background, or rather, she comes from a rich background, so taking care of him. Mind you, Cormoran was part of the army. Something happened that made him, what is this word? Be not expelled, discharged from the army. So the lady took her in. They have quite a history, so it only made sense. And they had broken up so much, so it started with a whirlwind. And in the process, we're introduced to his assistant. Cormoran Strike is a detective. And we get to see the relationship between these two people, because at the time he was living in his office. The assistant noticed, but it was like, you need to separate the two. So that kind of like made them quite strong, because there's this sense of respect and separation. And we are also following the death of an elite model. She was adopted by a family, a white family. She was black, and while shopping in the mall with the mom, she was discovered, and that's how her career started. She was successful, but what about humans? You always want to know where you're coming from. So she went out searching for where she's coming from. Lo and behold, she is digging a hole into hell, and that's how she died. So we're following Cormoran Strike as he tries to solve the murder. Meanwhile, we also get to see him try to come to terms with this termination of relationship. It was like, finally, I need to stop going on and off with this lady. She's toxic. It's time. But at times, he does miss her. You get to see mental challenges of someone who's been broken. And I appreciated that aspect. Comron is quite funny and witty and intelligent. He's also quite kind, as much as he describes himself as not being handsome. But it was not exactly fast-paced, but the pacing was right, and I enjoyed it for most of the parts. So somebody did good in this. So basically, that's all I read in the month of August. It was well balanced. We have crime fiction, we have contemporary fiction. I don't know how to Sarasky. It's a bit of historical fiction and contemporary fiction, but I think it's more contemporary fiction, as much as we get to see the effects of history on our future. And fantasy, middle grade fantasy. So it was awesome, and I have fun. Yes, we read something. So if you've read any of these books and you feel like you have a contrary opinion or you have a similar opinion, we can deliberate it in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, seeing me rumble and talk books. And I hope that you're reading more books that are giving you more pleasure. You get me a pleasure to take off the pressure, this pressure of mine. And until our next video, bye. As they try to, do you know is what?